Now, through the miracles of modern technology, zany worldwide banner featuring Tom, Michelle, and Jim in an on-topic, off-topic free-for-all. Welcome to the Gun Talk After Show.
All right, it's the after show where we gather, well, after we go off the air, but we can't quit talking about it because that's just what we do. We have Michelle Cleland. Hey, Michelle.
Hi, Tom.
And Jim Kinsey over there somewhere.
Greetings, sir.
So, and we have at least one caller. You never know. Sometimes we have people just call, and we never know what they're going to say. So we'll do a little of that. And Michelle, in just a minute, we do want to talk a little bit about this whole deal with the gunsmithing because, of course, your store, you guys offer a lot of gunsmithing.
We do. Yes, a lot of services.
So that's going to be a mess. We'll figure out that. We'll talk about that in a minute. But first, let's talk with Bob in Martinsburg, West Virginia. Hey, Bob, thank you for calling.
Hello, love your show. I'm new to the format here a few months, and I found your show by accident on the iHeart. I love to hear about the guns and reloading, and I'm listening to you. You're very knowledgeable and very right on point about a lot of things, whether it's laws or whether it's reloading, which I have. That's what I do.
What do you reload?
Well, I right now I'm reloading 38, 357, and some rifle, the 223 and the 35 and the 30-30, and I'm getting back into it from when I was younger and had a little break in it and had to retool up. But I like to hear that, what you were talking about with the gentleman with the bulge cases or whatever, and I got a Blackhawk, I guess, back in April, and started loading for that 38 357, and I was like, hey, why did I buy this when I was younger? This is great. This is great fun. Great loaded. Love the single action. Yeah,
Ruger Blackhawk, new Blackhawk, just so much fun to shoot. Single action, just go out, and they're accurate, and it's kind of a, it's kind of a throwback to earlier days. It's just fun to shoot.
I love it. I got it after taking the pistol instructor course from NRA, and one of the things you have to teach is the single action, manual of arms on the single action, which I'd been around a while, but I'd never done that. And once I got into that, I was like, I love it. It's a great gun. It's accurate. And why didn't I get one when I was younger?
Exactly. Well, then you get started and you get a 357. You think, well, now I got to get a 44 Magnum. Why not?
How did you read 45. My mind? I'm going to get the 629. That's my. Oh yeah. Well,
that is great.
I love it.
Well, super. Now the next thing you said that you got your NRA instructor. Are you teaching?
Yeah, I've brought some people to the range before I got the instructor. Now I'm going to bring some people on and get the certification. And I'm a member of Peacemaker National. That's in Glengarry, West Virginia. But I brought a lot of people into shooting, and they love it. I love seeing this new stuff where you got younger kids, you got women. There are all kinds of people into shooting, and once they get it, they love it. And it's nothing like what the news and the political people. They just love to shoot, and they love to have the self-defense ability, and it's totally different than what the media and all these, liberals want to present it as,
Michelle, Bob sounds like you.
Yes, he does. I was chuckling to myself because I'm like, wow, he likes us, but I like you. You're right on point with how we think.
Good deal. I'm the worst if you want to be.
Oh.
See, all these really, when I started out many years ago, it was just guys up there hunting and shooting, and I see all kinds of young ladies and older ladies shooting, and it's good to see also people of all descriptions out there, and it's good to see everybody getting into shooting and self-defense, and everybody's interested in carrying and learning how to do it safely, and especially with all the nonsense going on in our world today. But
it's interesting you mentioned that, Bob. When you say safely, I find that when you're inviting someone to go shoot, even if they're not saying it, that's the one thing they're thinking of. If they haven't shot before, they're thinking, is this safe? And I think it's one of the things you have to go ahead and broach that subject right off the bat and say, now understand that we do everything very safely, and we're all watching each other. And it's kind of like I even get into that before we go out to the range. I don't want them to wait until they're out there. I want them to be comfortable with the idea that, yes, we are concerned with safety.
It makes total sense. Anywhere you go. I went to my local gun shop yesterday, and I was looking for a Glock 19, which, anyway, there was a gentleman there who was familiar with rifles but not familiar with pistols, and and the takedown. He was asking the questions, and I guess the clerk wasn't familiar with Glocks, but I showed him, how to safely. And the first thing you look, is there a round in there? The magazine's released. All that safety, number one, number two, and always. And then we go ahead with the takedown procedure, and here's your barrel, here's your receiver, here's your slide group. From day one, from square one, safety, and everybody appreciates that. Even in the gun shop, I'm in a gun shop. That doesn't mean that somebody didn't make a mistake. We're all human. And check that chamber, remove that mag, make sure there's no rounds in there.
Here's the funny part, Bob. You may not know it, but Michelle, her family owns a gun store, and I'm just smiling, Michelle, because Bob sounds like you talking about all the things that go on in a gun store.
That's right. We always talk about the fact that regardless of how many times we take the same pistol, whether it's, you can be standing in front of me, Tom, and Bob, you walk up to me, and I may have just put that pistol back in the counter, but the first thing we do is open up that action and hand it over. And, it's just so important. You can't be too safe in this world. You can't be too safe with firearms, for sure.
Teach it and preach it, because you teach it, and everybody you teach, they do the same thing. Okay, point in a safe direction, finger off the trigger, and then open the action and make sure there's no rounds in there. And we all do that all the time, and then there's no, They want to talk about gun safety, common sense gun safety. NRA is common sense gun safety.
There it is. Hey, Bob, I'm glad that you found us, man. You are on board. Now spread the word. Tell more people about the show if you would.
Definitely will. Every Sunday afternoon and evening, I got you guys on.
Excellent.
There you go.
Welcome to the family.
Thank you so much. Yeah, welcome. That is great. All right, you be safe out there. Thank you. That was fun.
That's always a good time. Yeah. Somebody new.
I mean, yes. And he's got that enthusiasm. I'm thinking, as he's talking about the safety thing, I'm thinking, and you're not barking orders at people, and you're not shouting them down, hey, watch that muzzle. It's kind of like, all right, now, if you would, let's point the muzzle in a safe direction. It's giving them the positive things to do. It's really about delivery.
Well, it is. And anybody, and Jim does this too, anybody that you take out to the range, you kind of work as their subconscious thoughts. So, you're constantly coaching somebody, walking them through what to do. It's like, okay, take a breath, get a good grip, close the cylinder, whatever. You're walking them through step by step. So you really become their thinking. All they have to do is listen. And some people are very militaristic about it. Some people like that, but I've always found the soft approach always goes over a whole lot better.
Well, Jim uses the softer approach while he's holding a baseball bat. I think that's very effective.
I call it my persuader.
Listen.
You don't want me to use this, do you? You don't have to raise your voice.
It's very effective.
You will be keeping the muzzle pointed down range, won't you?
Well, it just obviously the tone can keep everything lightened and very easy.
It sets the stage. Well, exactly. And the thing is, you want people to enjoy themselves, and nobody, at least very few people, are going to have fun if somebody's yelling at them.
Well, and let's be honest, the whole point of going out to the range is to find your mistakes or your shortcomings or whatever it is you need to work on. So
to improve.
The last thing you need out there is somebody being so critical and so in your face about things that it turns you off, because then you get that media perception of how people in the gun world are. And as Bob said, we're not that way.
That's really not who we are.
Right.
It really isn't. All right, let's take a break here. And when we come back, I want to talk about this executive order that changes the definition of gunsmithing into manufacturing. Is going to require almost all gunsmiths to get a manufacturer's license, spend big dollars, and I'm afraid it's going to drive a bunch of them out of business. We'll talk about that when we come back.
FN handguns bear the DNA of legends, of John Browning, the father of modern firearms, of the artisans and craftsmen who brought his genius to life, of the brave souls who defended our freedom on the front lines for the last 100 years, and the brave souls who defend it on the home front today. FN handguns, the DNA of legends in the palm of your hand. Ask for FN, the world's most battle-proven firearms.
All right, we're back on the after show here, and the phone is ringing. We have no idea who it is, where they're from, or what they want to talk about. It may be a bill collector. Punch it in. Let's see what we get. Hello, you're on Gun Talk.
Hi there. This is Tony from Oakdale. I called earlier and I had to hang up, so now I'm back on hold.
Oh, good, Tony. Glad that you're back. You have is it the Troy Enterprise pump action rifle? Do you have one of those?
Yeah. No, it was one that I was interested in. I think it's either Troy Defense or Troy Enterprises. And I think I've read that a few years ago they came out with a pump action rifle. It looks just like an AR-15, but it's a pump action to load it, and it comes in the 223 and also the 308 and 338 Federal and all that. But I don't know a lot about them. I'm just wondering what you know about the company, what you know about that rifle.
Well, that's Troy Defense, and that's a good company. I mean, that's not a fly-by-night at all. Let's see. I'm looking here. The pump is available in 223 and 300 blackout. I'm looking online now at troydefense.com. And it is, from everything I can see here, it looks like a pretty interesting rifle. So basically, it's a pump rifle that looks exactly like an AR.
But if you scroll down on the website, you'll see it's available in other calibers. But
okay.
I was kind of interested in that because I have no idea what's going on with the gun laws for next year now. I hate to invest in an AR only to have to disassemble it and strip it down and make it legal. You know what I mean? Now,
you are in California?
Correct.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry. What can I tell you? So, I think maybe the you know, right?
Yeah, maybe I'll just get a BB gun and call it a day.
I'm not sure you're allowed to do that.
Tactical BB gun, maybe.
Tactical BB gun. Just don't paint it black, you know? Don't put a muzzle brake on it. Actually, this might not be a bad California gun. I mean, it makes me sick to my stomach to think that you have to do that. But you know what you ought to do, too? Here's a thought. Have you done a search on YouTube on this rifle?
You know, I just started doing that. I saw a video by, I think it's Iraqi veteran. He seemed to talk pretty well about it. And there was a write-up in American Rifleman. But that's really about all I've done.
Well, Troy Defense is a good company. They make good stuff. It's one of those companies where you feel like if they make it, it's going to be okay. I wouldn't have a problem with it. Interesting idea, though. They basically take an AR concept and make a pump out of it, so all of your accessories and magazines and everything will work on it. Of course, you can't have like real magazines in California either, but that's a whole nother subject. It's so. How long are you going to be? How long before you leave California?
Yeah. It's funny. I was just talking to my son about that. I go, hey, either we sell it all now or we keep it. We head over to Arizona. So I think we're going to be here to stay, unfortunately.
Okay. Well, then you got to figure out how to put up with it. I'm also going to recommend, if you haven't discovered it yet, there's a really cool place on the web called calguns.net. Are you familiar with those guys?
Oh, yeah, I've heard of them.
If you want information on what's legal and what works in California, that's a really good site. It's like every other online group. You get kind of, you figure out the personalities after a while. But CalGuns is a pretty good place to go.
Okay, I'll check it out then.
You know what my favorite part of California is, Tom?
Yeah, Ohio. yeah, Texas.
Oh, God.
And now you got Massachusetts, where you have one person who just stands up and says, tell you what, I'm reinterpreting what an assault weapon is. And everything that we said was legal for the last 20 years is suddenly not. And you can't sell it anymore. And we'll let you know if we decide to prosecute you for a felony, even though we told you it was okay. Now we're deciding, that was wrong.
I don't get that. How is something not, I mean, I understand not grandfathering clauses and grandfathering, previous purchases, but honestly, you've caught them, so to speak, with their pants down. I mean, you know what they've purchased. There's paperwork on everything. I just don't get how a state can do that to its own people. I don't get it. Regardless of what your political feel is, how can you just go and make them all felons?
Now, is the Attorney General appointed, Tom, or elected?
Depends on the state.
Okay.
And I don't know about Massachusetts.
Yeah, because, with an election coming up.
Well, but look, come on, it's Massachusetts. Give me a break.
Yeah, good point.
Although, Jim Wallace, when we were talking to him earlier, he said that, this has awakened gun owners in Massachusetts right before the election. I don't know if he's hinting that Massachusetts could go Republican. It would be hard to imagine. New York may. And if New York may, who knows?
Boy, there's not enough, I feel at times at least, there's not enough conversation outside of our like-thinking persons. People who come into stores or go into stores and discuss politics, we're already on the same page for the most part. I mean, you have people that are making knee-jerk reactions and making a purchase because they simply want to get it in now before they can't, instead of changing the way that they vote. But gosh, it's just this media, they're not covering any of this. So unless you have NRA bulletins that come through or track these different organizations across the country, people have no idea this is really going on until you start talking.
And to that point, I think you're exactly right. Think about this. Most hunters pay no attention to this. They're not getting NRA stuff. They're not reading it. They don't know what's going on. And that's why they think the way they do.
On the upside, it is an elected position in Massachusetts. In Massachusetts, it's an elected, constitutionally defined executive officer. So,
that's an awfully big name for something.
In other words, she voted in.
I am sure that the powers that be, manufacturers and such, are already planning their lawsuits and challenges to this. Again, the problem becomes what court, what judge, what do you do with this?
Right.
Well, yeah, because
you're talking millions and millions of dollars. Every gun store, literally overnight, she announced it and said, at midnight tomorrow, no one can sell any of these. They had to box them all back up and I guess, I don't know, return them to the manufacturer. I mean, or eat them. What do? You're a small store and you've got $15,000, $20,000 in inventory sitting there, maybe a lot more depending on the size of the store, and now you can't sell them.
It's a serial numbered item. There's so many places that won't take something like that back. Like you say, you end up eating it, but they can't even get rid of it. They can't even swap it out to somebody else.
Right.
Yeah.
And the thing is, and no other state wants it because it was made with characteristics that are specific for Massachusetts with their stupid assault weapons law. So they made them in compliance with the law. So in order to sell that gun in Ohio, for instance, you would look at it and go, well, that's a stupid gun. I mean, that's not really an AR. It's emaciated. It's
Right.
I don't know. It's emasculated. You don't want. You're not going to sell that gun in your store because people are going to look at it and go, "What? It doesn't have a flash suppressor. It doesn't have a collapsible stock. It's
You're limited on
It's
magazine.
got 10-round magazine. I mean, what am I going to do with that? I mean, you wouldn't buy that gun to sell at your store.
Yeah, it really puts them into a predicament. I mean,
It's terrible.
Now, can they sell to another FFL outstate?
well, but they'd still be transferring an illegal piece.
Well, they could probably send it out of state, but the problem is when that store gets it out of state, they're going to take that gun and now they're going to have to do stuff to it to make it palatable to sell.
Oh, because of Massachusetts compliant, yeah.
Because it's a compliant gun. So now what are we going to do? We're going to put a muzzle brake on it because I mean it's not easy to sell unless it's an accuracy like a long range AR. Most of them have muzzle brakes or something on them, a flash suppressor and muzzle brake. It just looks weird without it. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen, but we'll follow the thing. We'll follow the action on it.
Well,
Let's talk for a minute about this deal, Michelle, about the new interpretation that says if you are gunsmithing, you are a manufacturer and you have to get a manufacturer's license now.
Yeah, God, this just puts a pit in my stomach. It's unbelievable. Out of nowhere, of course, this is how it hit. Like you said, it was an executive order that was just pushed into action. And, now you're going to be fined if you don't have it. It's, $2,250 that a business is going to have to put up front to be able to do what their passion
on to
is.
Their customers, yeah, they're going to pass that on. They have to.
Or it's a cost of business, and some people might take it at that. But it's a yearly. I think it's
this is a yearly charge, and there's more paperwork involved because now you have to deal with yet another agency that's not the ATF. It's different groups. You have to paperwork with these guys, and again has the force of law. And as we know, if you're in the business of making guns and selling them without a license, that's a big deal.
And the ironic part of that is that whole registration process has been around for a while, but it's geared towards manufacturers to prevent them from sending firearms outside the continental U.S., which gunsmiths don't do and aren't doing and still won't be doing.
No one in the right mind thinks that threading a barrel is manufacturing a gun, but that's how it's interpreted.
By no means. You're making a change to it. You may be putting on a muzzle brake, something as simple as changing the harmonics and the shooting ability of that firearm. You're not manufacturing anything. It already has its serial number. And for people who may not know, even if you're a gunsmith, you still have to have a license. You still have to have an FFL. So on top of having an FFL, now you have to pay this $22.50 price and belong to yet another governmental organization who has the ability to come in, I'm sure, and look at anything that they want to, and paperwork and books and oh my gosh.
Now, in the past, there's been gun measures that have been designed for money grabs, like the tax stamp thing is kind of ridiculous.
I don't think that's what this is.
No, that's what I'm saying. I don't think this is a money grab. But do you think it could be tied into the loosening of the suppressor stuff as of the 18th of July? Do you think of any of that's reactionary? Like, wow, they're going to be able to get a suppressor. Well, here's how we'll combat that. Or was it in the works for a long time?
This has the feel of an agency that wants to expand its reach. Mm-hmm. And it says, okay, there are only so many manufacturers out there, and however many that is, 500. I mean, because you've got to count, people who are assembling ARs, they're manufacturers, they have licenses.
Right.
But there are thousands upon thousands and thousands of gunsmiths. And agencies are judged, their importance is judged by how much they regulate, how many people have to report to them. So this could be a power grab, it could be a money grab, but it also could be somebody back there saying, how do we drive gun stores out of business? And having been at this long enough, I know people think that's paranoid. They absolutely want to stop the sale of guns in America. How do we do that? Even if we can reduce it a little bit by making it harder to buy a gun, by adding paperwork to it, by making them more expensive. And they'll talk about it. Well, let's put $1 a tax or $5 a tax per round on ammunition. I mean, So
Yeah, it's very similar
I can see this being that.
It's very similar to the Wells Fargo thing, really, when you think about it.
It is.
Instead of
Operation Choke Point was designed to choke off money to gun stores so that they go out of business. Mm-hmm. That's the idea. We want to drive these companies out of business. We will strip them of their ability to get financial services because we think that they are whatever, inappropriate, or it's a way to get at gun owners.
Like micro-stamping and ammo regs and same thing. Make it as difficult as possible. People just say, screw it.
Right. Well, and that's the thing is how many people are going to say that. They don't care that there's a loss of business because the loss of business is on their air quote
yes.
gun control unquote act. And, anybody that's a serious shooter, a serious hunter, this wasn't even made public knowledge. There's nothing that comes forward. So, like I said, unless you sign up for these emails or listen to your program or whatever it is, you have no idea that this just happened.
Right.
So what kind of paperwork?
Unless you're getting the emails from the NRA, for instance.
Right.
It just happened and you don't know about it. And then when people like you or me or Jim, when we say to people, the government is enacting gun control, just not through the legislature, not through Congress. People say, well, they can't do that.
No way.
They have no idea that it's going on.
Right. No, they have to go through Congress in order to get the approval.
No, they don't. And you just want to grab them and shake them. And it's once again goes back to who's going to fight this? We are, but really it's going to come down to the NRA and state groups. I mean, that's the deal. That's where the fight's going to be. And if the NRA was 10 million or 15 or 20 million instead of 5 million, we could stop all this stuff. We could just, not going to happen. Done. A call would go to a certain congressman who would make a call to a certain somebody and say, stop this or your funding goes away.
The world of politics.
That's how
and leverage.
That doesn't work that
way. Politics is force. Politics is leverage. It just is. And right and wrong really doesn't have a whole lot to do with anything. You just got to find the leverage. You got to find the power. You got to find the force to do what you want to do. And right now, because we have 100 million gun owners and only 5 million NRA members, we have squandered our leverage.
We just keep getting kicked in the gut all over again every time we turn around.
Yeah, it just feels like we're just getting hammered. And can you imagine? This is the Obama who said, I'm not going to take away your guns, versus the Hillary who says, I am going to take away your guns. Can you imagine her administration?
Yeah. And so the people who call in and want to know what will the world look like under her?
Yeah.
Yeah. Here's a hint. Here's a little peek behind the curtain of what it was going to be like. This will happen in rapid fire because they have smart people. And when she says, find me ways to cut down on gun ownership, find me ways to really seriously harm the gun industry, there are enough people out there who could say, oh, yeah, we could do this, 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 and this. Here's some really sneaky stuff that we could do that people won't even know we're doing.
Yeah, don't even worry about enforcing the current stuff.
Right.
Well, understand, and I guess the point of it, and you alluded to it, Michelle, is that states, if they do something like this and gun stores fold, to those politicians, that's a good thing. The loss of jobs, that's a good thing. When Maryland ran Beretta out, they thought that's a good thing. They like that. Those are positives. Those go into the positive column for them. It's sick and it's wrong, but there it is. And the only way to fight this is for us all to band together. And the way we band together is to everybody go out and buy another NRA membership for a friend.
I was thinking,
I don't know.
It's too bad the manufacturers can't say, hey, every gun we sell comes with the $10. Like one of them did that before. The $10 NRA associate membership, I think it is. I'm already an NRA member. All right, we'll discount the gun $10, but you buy a gun, it comes with the membership.
It's good for anybody. You can give it to them, and a number of manufacturers do that. And what's interesting is how few people use it.
Yeah, and you can't expect the retailer merchandiser to take an extra 5 minutes to make sure they fill out their stuff and do this and that.
No, it's not their business.
I get it.
You guys are not in the business of doing that.
I get it.
We're relying on, it's not just the NRA, it's the ILA side of things.
Well, yeah, I mean, the ILA is the lobbying group.
Right.
Yes.
And so when we talk about this, the more that they throw out and the more that we rely on the NRA, ILA to fight in our defense for, the more money they need. So, this is an obvious thing. Even if you already have your membership, buy one for somebody. I mean, $35 over the cost of a year, you get a really good magazine that keeps you very in line, unfortunately, with what's happening with the politics. And,
you can sign up for the email alerts.
Exactly.
You can be informed that way, yeah.
And even if you don't necessarily like the NRA, I know there's so many people that say they don't like it, but we need those numbers. We need that money. We need to fight back against this. The states of Washington and California and Massachusetts, their gun groups, their state organizations are going crazy trying to fight this, and it's big money. It's a lot of time. It's lots of digging, and gosh, we got to win. We just have to win.
There it is. We have to win, and I will tell you, this election scares the crap out of me. Yeah, I know Trump is not perfect, and everybody. I can't tell you how many people tell me, yeah, but I'm going to vote my conscience. I'm going to vote for Gary Johnson. I'm just going, you do understand that is a vote for Hillary. Well, you're not sure that Trump's going to be any better. Yeah, oh, yes, I am. I'm really sure he's going to be better. He may not be perfect, but he's going to be a lot better than Hillary. It's just insane. I mean, that is crazy talk.
If it brings any peace to you, Tom, those are the same folks that are playing Pokemon Go.
Oh, my gosh.
Well, I hope... yeah, I would say... No, I won't say that. I had several thoughts there, none of them good, so we're not going to go
Okay.
there. Oh, Lordy. All right, guys. Well, listen, I'll tell you what. With that cheery thought, maybe we wrap it up on this deal of there is something we can each do. We can go find somebody who's not an NRA member and buy them an NRA membership, or coerce them, or threaten them, or say, I will not return your lawn shears, your head shears, unless you join, or whatever it takes. Man, you just basically it's whatever it takes at this point. It really is.
I will rent out that Persuader if you want to borrow it.
There you go. That's that Louisville Slugger.
That's right.
Well, the other thing is you can just send them a check.
There is that, isn't there?
Mm-hmm,
Yeah, if you're going
You
to
can send a check to the ILA.
Yep, you can just send them money. They'll appreciate
But
it.
if you're going to send them a check, you might as well use that money to sign up a couple folks.
Well, yes, but I'm just saying for those people, it's like, well, my niece, my nephew, my kids, whatever. You can go through this list.
Sign my damn cat up.
Because the numbers matter. When a congressman asks LaPierre or Chris Cox House membership, if they say, well, it's okay, what that means is it's going down. But if they say, oh, yeah, we've added 20% or it's up, that means something.
Great point, yes.
As I always say, politicians may not know a lot, but they do know how to count.
We're running overtime here part-time. I think you better wrap this up and get on to doing something else.
There you go. Well, I'm going to go do first-person defender all week, and then we'll pick this up again next Sunday. Woohoo! All righty, you guys be safe.
See ya.
Bye.
Tell your friends about the Gun Talk After Show, a more informal setting featuring Tom, Michelle, and Jim commenting on topics that are important to you. Available on iTunes and other podcatchers, and the Gun Dealio smartphone app for iPhone and Android.